So this is the pitch. TM moves are unlocked by obtaining a Pokemon with the move. Say, for example, you chose Charmander, and at level 30, it learns Flamethrower. What will then happen is you are prompted with a toast that says new recipe unlocked, and it shows check a TM machine, and it says Flamethrower, or we can have it just be the fire type TM icon or whatever it is. But once that recipe is unlocked, you can actually go into the TM machine and see that Flamethrower is now there, as previously it was not there. There are going to be multiple ways to unlock a TM recipe. You can unlock them by level up moves. You can unlock them by catching a Pokemon with moves you have not unlocked a recipe for, or by giving your Pokemon a TM that you don't have a recipe unlocked for. So say you find a TM in a structure, you don't unlock it by just putting that TM in your inventory. You need to put it on a Pokemon first before it unlocks. We have 31 TM exclusive moves. So that's 31 moves that we're going to have to find a way to put somewhere. And then 75 moves learned by 10 or less Pokemon naturally. TM moves will be on our version of Alpha Pokemon. We can wait very hard to get TMs to appear on Alpha Pokemon more frequently. TM moves can be on Alpha Pokemon that spawn in habitats. We can put Alpha Pokemon in habitats as well. Maybe they have a higher chance of showing up there. A benefit to that is if the Alpha Pokemon decides to breed with another Pokemon, it could coincidentally pass down that TM move to the egg. And then in the future, TM moves can be on Dynamax and Terra raids, and even on hostile Pokemon in dungeons. So you could be encouraged to catch Pokemon in dungeons later on in the future. I think this TM system provides a really natural player choice and player-driven quest system. They are never prompted with a to-do list necessarily, and the player always decides what they would like to do next. Them deciding, I want to unlock this new move, actually sets them on a course to do more content within the game. So if, player says, hey, I need a new move, they will either look for a Pokemon that has it and go catch it, or train a Pokemon that they currently have, or they will say, I want to find some TMs through exploring some dungeons, so they'll go do that. Or the player will say, I need new TMs, maybe I should go buy some from the NPCs, and they'll go do that. So this in particular is not about progression. It's about connecting every feature in the mod with a positive feedback loop. Progression for the sake of progression, as we have stated many times before, is not fun. So the reason why I think this in particular is good, because it does have a positive feedback loop. And what I mean by that is when a player needs a move, they're going to go do those 3 paths that I talked about earlier. And then that player gets that new move, and it makes their team stronger, which then allows them to take on more challenges, like taking on harder structures and catching higher level Pokemon, and continue earning more moves that way. By getting more moves, you allow the player to access more moves easier, and it's an endless cycle of constantly unlocking more and more and more.
Right-clicking a type gem on the ground will place a type gem bud that relates to the type gem. So placing a fire gem will place a fire gem bud. All of the buds and crystals and then blocks are separate blocks for each type. Right-clicking on the bud again with the same gem will create a type gem cluster. The idea is of how the type gems grow is that the center of the formation is a deep slate core block, and that's just one regardless of the different type gem colors. There's only one of these blocks, and that will always be embedded into the walls of caves, and the gems grow into the open space of the cave. The further away, eventually the type gems will be growing too far away from the deep slate core block and will just stop growing. The growth stage goes like this. The type gem bud will turn into a cluster, which will eventually turn into a full block, and from those, if they're near a core block, then it will spawn a bud on the sides eventually. Process will occur again on any exposed face of the newly formed type gem block. There can be multiple buds on one block, and once it gets too far away, the clusters grown at that limit will not turn into type gem blocks. They will stay as the clusters, the crystal shards here. That's the top level that they will remain at if they are too far away from the core. The buds and clusters can be broken with piston heads so that you can automate the things. The deep slate core block can be mined with an iron pickaxe, anything higher at least, anything from that or higher. The player can place a type gem on any exposed surface of that core block to begin growing type gems of that type. To 6 different type gems can be placed on a single core block and all grow independently of each other in their respective direction.